Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Grant. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. We got a pretty busy week going on in the sports world. A lot of stuff has happened since the last time we've recorded, so I'm excited to talk about it. And we'll
Yep.
start out every episode like we start out with our hot take of the week. So I'll let you go ahead with that.
All right. So I kind of mentioned this to you about my hot take, and the Boston hype this preseason was absolutely fraudulent, and I fell for it. And I'm honestly upset that I did. They're 8-10 on the season, second to last to the Orioles in the AL East. Got spanked 16-1 last night against the Rays, and I don't care if it's too early in the season. You know the way that these analysts and all the Boston fans were talking, you'd think that they'd be first in the division and World Series contenders. So it honestly makes me a little upset just how much I really fell for the Boston hype. And Orioles on their own are kind of shaky to start the season as well. So we'll see how it finishes out, and how the season progresses, I should say. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty upset with Boston just making a fool out of everyone. So yeah.
Yeah. I had said when we did the whole MLB show, I said that I wasn't as high on Boston as everyone else was, but I did pick the Orioles, who are also off to a terrible start. And I will say the one thing I was wrong about with the Red Sox was I said I didn't think Garrett Crochet would make a big difference. Now he's looked phenomenal when he's pitched,
Yeah.
probably the front runner for AL Cy Young right now. But I I just didn't see like their offense being like that competitive as like everyone
Yeah.
was saying, and as we can see, it's been brutal. And then 16-1 to the Rays, like you said, is just awful. I think the AL East as a whole right now is looking kind of rough. I think
Yeah.
who's in first? Is it the Yankees in first right now? And
Yeah, it's
um,
Yankees and then I think Blue Jays and Rays.
yeah, so it's a rough looking division. But early in the season, we'll see how it uh, forms as the season goes on. My hot take of the week kind of has to go with some news that just broke a couple hours ago. The Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey are in agreement to work on a trade for him. So I kind of shaped my hot take around this news. And my hot take is Dolphins trading Jalen Ramsey could lead to us ultimately trading Tyreek Hill too. Um,
Yeah.
the reason I'm saying this is I have no idea as a Dolphins fan what direction the Dolphins are going for right now. Like, I don't know if they're trying to go into a rebuild right now. I don't know if they're trying to be competitive next season. I don't know what their plan is. They haven't signed any new players, like anyone significant. They've signed a couple players, obviously, but no one with significance. They've lost their best offensive lineman in Teron Armstead. Um, Now we're going to be losing Jalen Ramsey, who is our only good corner. We have no good corners now. We lost Javon Holland, who is one of our best safeties. Jordan Poyer's probably gone. Yeah, so I don't know what route the Dolphins are going for. Are they planning on having a really good draft and maybe doing like a soft rebuild for this season and then hoping the next season? But the one thing Tyreek Hill was saying after the season, when everyone thought he was going to leave, was when he came back out and said he wanted to stay. He said that he wanted to make sure the Dolphins were signing dogs and signing some really good players and active in the market and stuff. And we just haven't been. So is that going to disgruntle Tyreek Hill and make him ask out too? Only time will tell. I could see it happening honestly because I just have no idea what this Dolphins team is doing personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next week or 2 are really gonna, show what kinda direction they're going because all the reports I saw on Jalen Ramsey are saying that it's probably gonna happen soon.
Yeah.
Whether or not it happens on draft night, whether you draft up in the, first round or, just things like that, anything can really happen. Like you said with the make him a package, with Tyreek, but yeah, I think it'll be very exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for what the Dolphins are doing right now. It's gonna look like a pretty rough season next season. So, all right, now we're gonna go ahead and slide into our underdog of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and take that away.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go back to back, weeks with a biased pick, but I'm gonna have to go with a guy who has honestly been phenomenal. Um, just he showed glimpses of greatness last year, and then this year he just really came out swinging, and that's Ben Rice. Really stepped up at that DH position when Giancarlo Stanton went out early in spring training. So he's batting 300 right now, 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, and then 1.097 on base plus slugging. So I'm really interested to see whether or not he's still in the lineup when Giancarlo comes back because he's scheduled to come back mid-May. So yeah, just big little shout out to Ben Rice.
Yeah, nice. For my underdog of the week, I went with someone that isn't an underdog by any means, but I feel like in today's NBA, he's sort of looked at as an underdog because of his age and other people surpassing him, and he's not once what he once was. And that's James Harden. This last week, he averaged 29 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 10.5 assists. So he almost got a triple double there. And he led his team to a 4-0 record, which ultimately got him out of the play-in tournament. And they are now a fifth seed going into the playoffs. And you and me had kind of been hitting on that for the last couple of weeks. Like, watch out for the Clippers. They
Hmm.
might be a team that makes some noise here. James Harden
Yep.
has looked phenomenal, and Kawhi Leonard is looking really good. He played a huge game in that Golden State Warriors game to finish off the season. I think he played almost 42 minutes or something like that. We haven't seen him play that many minutes in a long time. So that's a team that's looking ready for the playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see what happens because I really like James Harden. I think he's a very good player still and can offer a lot. And then with Kawhi, and then obviously guys like Zubac and Norman Powell who are having great years for them, it'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NBA because now the play-in tournament has been set and games are going to be starting as early as tonight. So I just wanted to go over each game of the play-in tournament and get our predictions going for this. So we'll start with the first game that's happening tonight, which is the Hawks versus the Magic. Who do you have winning that game?
This one I think is really a toss up. It can go in any direction. Both teams have playoff experience. Magic a little more recent than the Hawks. Um, they really gave it to the Cavs last year, so if they can bring back that, I guess, kind of aggression that they went into 7 games with last year, I think Magic can pull it out. But the Hawks, they've been very streaky this year, and I think if they can kind of click, they'll be able to get it. So I'm just gonna say on record for the Hawks will win it.
Yeah, I'm really leaning either way for this game. I think the Magic have the better team on paper, but I think the
Yeah,
Hawks have like Trey Young, who's like more
yeah,
experience in the playoffs, if that makes any sense, than anyone on the Magic do. But the Magic do have the better team, I feel like, with
yeah,
Paulo and Franz and all those guys. But I would not be surprised at all if the Hawks win. I mean, Trey Young can. It's one game, and Trey Young can go out and drop
yeah,
40 points and 15 assists like it's nothing in one game. And if Dyson Daniels is playing lockdown defense on Franz
yeah.
Wagner and holding him quiet, then anything can happen. So I think I'm also going to lean towards the Hawks. Although I do think the Magic are technically the better team on paper, but I'm going to pick the Hawks as well. I think it's going to be an upset.
Yep.
All right, so now we're going to go to the second game that's happening tonight, and that will be the Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors. These are two teams that I don't think a lot of people had making the play-in tournament. I thought everyone thought that they'd
Mm-mm.
make the actual playoffs, but I want to know who you have winning
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. In the later parts to the middle parts of the season, Grizzlies were in that 2, 3 seed conversation.
Hmm.
And to see them drop as far as what they are, in the play-in, it's been very interesting. And on the contrary, Warriors, they seemed like they were out of it until that Jimmy Butler trade, and then
Right.
they just found a way to sneak in. So I think on the rise as much the Warrior, just kind of to see where the stocks are going. I'm gonna say the Warriors are gonna win because they just had the hot hand recently. Fortunate enough to find a way in, and then if Jimmy Butler can find that way of 2023 playoff Jimmy, I think Warriors will be in pretty good hands with Curry along with all the studs on that Warriors team. So I'm gonna go with the Warriors.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to bet against Steph Curry and potentially a playoff
Yeah.
Jimmy. I mean, I'm not going to bet against them either. I'm going to also go with the Warriors. And like you said, Grizzlies were off to an amazing start this season. They were in the top 3 seeding for a long
Yep.
portion of that year. And then towards the end, the wheels kind of came off. Obviously, they fired their head coach, which was crazy towards the end of the season. And
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
it's interesting what's going on over there. I don't think that they'll be able to handle Steph Curry and Jimmy, and they got guys like Pajemski who's been playing really well. So, yeah, I'm also going to go with the Warriors. Now we're going to go into Wednesday's game, and we're going to start with the Miami Heat versus the Bulls. I'm interested to know who you have winning this one.
This one, it keeps interchanging for me because Bulls are such a good like one game
Mm-hmm.
win kind of team, but I don't know. It all comes down to playoff experience. He have guys who have obviously been in the playoffs and made it far as the finals, but I don't know if like Tyler Hero is going to be able to just come out, I guess, when he needs to, and without a guy like Jimmy or just someone on that face of the team to be able to just get that win. So I'm gonna say Heat, give him the benefit of the doubt, just with all the experience, because in the end, that's what it all comes down to. So, but I could also see this one going either way.
Yeah, I can really see this one going either way as well. The Heat have been terrible against the Bulls this season. I don't think we've won a game against them this season. But it would be so Miami Heat coded for them to lose every single
Yeah,
game to them in the regular season and then go
yeah,
out in the play in and win a game. And
yeah. That's why I picked them.
I'm juggling between wanting to cheer for them to win and obviously wanting the higher draft pick. But it's just so on par for the Miami Heat to go out and win this game when everyone doesn't want them to win this game. So I'm gonna also go with the Miami Heat. But if the Bulls just do what they did to us in the regular season, it should be no problem for them. They're at home court. It's a 1-game series. Josh Giddey has cooked us every time he's played against us.
Yeah.
So if they do what they did in the regular season against us, it'll be no problem for them. But I always have a gut feeling when it comes to Heat games, and usually they're right. And my gut is just telling me that they're going to win this game somehow. And we'll see if I'm wrong or right. But I really have a weird feeling that they're going to win this game. Now, I will say I don't know what they'll do after that because they do have to play a second playing game if they do win. And I don't know what's happened after that. But I
Yeah.
do think that they're going to beat the Bulls, even though
I
we've
mean,
lost to them.
it's either between the Hawks or the Magic. So,
Yeah.
um, it really comes down to that.
And you know what's kind of weird about that? Despite the Hawks and Magic being the higher seed, I feel like the Heat and the Bulls might be the better teams, if that makes any sense. I know the records don't
No,
show
it
it.
does. It does.
Yeah,
Bulls have also been very streaky, and like when they're good, they're good. Kobe White
right,
has just been phenomenal. Like you said with Josh Giddey, he's been amazing as well. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, because like if I'm a Cavs or Celtics fan, I'd much rather face the Hawks or Magic rather than the Heat or the
Oh
Bulls. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting game tomorrow night. And then finally, the last playing game we have is the Mavericks versus the Kings. I don't know how the Mavericks snuck in there, but they did. And they're going against the Kings that have been pretty hot as of late. So who do you got?
Yeah, I mean they could sneak in, but I think they're gonna find their way back out.
Right.
Just I don't think the morale of this team and the fan base as well, to be honest, can withstand a playoff just series or even a game this year. I think Kings are a lot more uh, solid as far as their foundation. They got the fan base, they got the players. I think they'll be able to get this game and then proceed to the second round of the play-in.
Yeah, I think out of all the games we just went over, this one's probably the easiest one to pick a winner for. I'm also going with the Canes, like you said. The Mavericks just barely, scratched their way into there. They're a train wreck over
Yeah,
there to put it in nicest
dumpster
form.
fire.
Yeah, exactly. And Canes have been hot as of late. Zach Levine's been getting really comfortable over there. Obviously, you got DeMar and you got Sabonis, who's been absolutely phenomenal this year.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with the Canes as well. But I don't expect them to get into the playoffs. I don't think.
Yeah.
No Malik Monk either for them, which not won't be a big factor for them against the Mavericks, but that might come into effect in their second playing game.
Right.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and slide over to the MLB, and we kind of got our first major injury of like someone being out for a season, and of course that comes to the Chicago Cubs ace Justin Steele, who will be out for the season, who needs surgery, and not only his elbow but his forearm too. So just a brutal blow to the Cubs, who already didn't have a lot of pitch in depth, and now they really don't by losing their
Yeah.
ace. So I just wanted to gather your thoughts on it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly sympathize with it. I'm kind of going through the same exact thing with Garrett Cole, not even being
Right.
able to play in a regular season game this year. So, I mean, it's very rough, especially, I watched a couple Cubs games this year, just talk to you about it. And, man, that bullpen does not help having
Hmm.
starters be anywhere close to like not
Yeah.
healthy. So, hopefully both of our teams can kind of make some moves as far as starting pitchers. I'm sure our teams are going to be going after the same guys.
Right.
So, yeah, just highly unfortunate. And I can sympathize with you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I fully expect Yankees and Cubs at trade deadline to both be heavily pursuing guys like Dylan Cease,
Yeah.
Sandy Alcantara, all those guys. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, like you were saying, the Cubs have actually been off to a really good start this year, but that has all been from their offense and their starting pitching. The
Oh,
bullpen
yeah.
has not helped out at all, and the starting pitching has needed to gone like 7 innings of like really good pitching. And we got an eighth inning guy and a ninth inning guy you can kind of trust in Porter Hodge and Ryan Presley. You can kind of trust those guys. But everyone else in that bullpen, like if you have to pull your pitcher in the fifth inning, the Cubs are not winning that game right now
Yeah.
because who knows who we have
Yeah.
to put. I mean, you saw last night Nate Pearson. That dude is terrible. I mean, I see the
Oh, my
potential, like
gosh.
100 miles per hour in the break and all that stuff, and he was a former prospect, all that. But dude, it's time to like make some moves here. You can clearly see this bullpen is bad. We're in the toughest stretch of our season. We just lost our ace. And I think you got to go out and get like a David Robertson, who's a free agent right now, who's a certified, really good bullpen arm that I do not know how he doesn't have a job right now. But yeah, I digress. It's definitely a blow to this season. And I really hope that, the Cubs are aggressive and getting some pieces to help out the starter rotation and the bullpen because this offense is too good to pass up on a chance to have a really good season here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go over our player of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and start out with that.
Yeah, I'll just go to the NL Player of the Week, and that's William Contreras. He was batting 440, 2 home runs, and 6 ribbies this past week. So just honestly been giving life to that Brewer offense. Yeah, just been playing really good ball.
Yeah, I got two players here that I'm going to be going over. One of them for their performance based, and another one just did kind of a cool accomplishment that I thought should be recognized. The first player I'm going to go for is Jun Ho Lee, the
Oh my
Giants outfielder.
gosh.
In his last 5 games, he's batted
Yeah.
368 with 7 hits, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and 6 runs. He's looked really good. And he's just been a huge part of that Giants team that's been off to an incredibly hot start that I don't think anyone saw coming. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Jun Ho Lee. I know you don't really like that pick because he was doing a lot
Well,
of that to your Yankees. Um,
2 of those 3 home runs were against the Yankees
right.
in just
Yeah.
one game. So
Right.
that is
So, yeah,
unfortunate.
that's my one that I'm doing performance based. And then I just wanted to shout out Jose Quintana real quick. I don't know if you saw this, but he became just the 24th pitcher ever to defeat all 30 teams in the MLB. So he has a win against
Wow.
every MLB team now as a starting pitcher. Thought that was a
That's
cool little
impressive.
stat. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so now we're going to go
Well,
ahead and go over our team of the week, and I'll let you go ahead with that.
yeah, I'm gonna go with a team that kind of spanked the Yankees. I think it was last week, and that is the Detroit Tigers. 8-2 in the last 10. Pitching has been honestly phenomenal, and on top of the AL Century at 10-6. So yeah, they've just been really looking hot to like pick up where they left off, pretty much with last year. Making the playoffs and all that. So um, yeah, good to see that from them.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I'm going to go with the other team that's 8-2 in their last 10 games, and that's the New York Mets. I think that they're really
Uh,
heating up here. Juan Soto starting to get comfortable. They've looked really good. A lot of people coming into the season was like, "Oh, are they going to be able to replicate what they did last season?" And so far, they've been able to do that. I believe they're first place in the NL East. I'm not 100% sure though. Um,
I think
and
so.
yeah, they've looked really good. So I'm going to go with the New York Mets.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead and slide over to UFC 314 that just happened this last weekend. Really good card that happened in Miami. And Mason, I just real quick wanted to gather your thoughts on this card.
Yeah, honestly, just I can't huge shout out to Miami and UFC. That collab is just insane. You know, the past 2 times, that they went to the Kaseya Center have been absolute bangers. So,
Hmm.
yeah, just I loved it. I don't think there was one fight that had me like, "Oh, you know, that one was kinda boring." I think every fight on the main card were, like, very good. So, yeah, huge shout out to Miami for always performing.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. There was no fight that happened on that main card where it was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom real quick and take a break. Because like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
fight was a very entertaining fight. From the first fight with Dominic Reyes and that crazy knockout he had, all the way through to
Yeah.
the absolute banger of a fight we got with Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. So this card was just absolutely stacked. The crowd in Miami was insane. Just an all around phenomenal card. And like you said, the last two cards that have been in Miami have been absolutely amazing. So just a great card. And I think this is going to be the card of the year if you were to ask me. I don't see a card topping this.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and dive into this card a little bit deeper by picking our fighter of the night. Who do you have?
I don't think it should go to anyone else other than Patty Pimblett. The amount of doubt on this guy, you know, going against a guy like Chandler. You know, I kind of mentioned it last week on our little preview, saying, you know, I think he's going to win just off of the recency and how much he's been fighting. But man, I did not expect him to come out and just start dominating Michael Chandler like he was. You know, he made him look like just some average prelim guy. And, you know, Chandler's known for having a gas take and being ruthless, you know, just banging him, just killing him. But man, Patty really reversed the roles there, and he was absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to see what's next from him.
Yeah, it's got to be Patty Pimblett. That dude was insane. That performance he put on was just it was insane. That's the only word to really describe it. Like you were saying, Chandler is known as a guy that dogs you and makes you fight every round till the end, has the gas tank, goes the distance, like absolutely breaks you down and wears you out. And Patty Pimblett just reversed the role and did that to
Oh
him
yeah.
and did it worse fashion. I mean, this dude was suffocating Chandler in that
Oh
last
yeah.
round before it got stopped. It was bad. Like I almost had to look away a couple of times because of how bad it was. The ref
Just
wanted to
looking
see
up.
Chandler unconscious really bad. It seemed because that ref should have stopped it way earlier than when he did. But man, what a performance by Pimblett. A lot of people saying they didn't believe in his striking and stuff like that against a guy like Chandler. Well, like he said after the fight, what can you possibly say
What
now
now? Yep.
about him? I think that this guy is the complete package. The fans love him. He's energetic. He's fun to watch, and I can't wait to see his future. This was his best performance yet against a
Oh yeah.
certified, really good UFC fighter in Chandler. He just absolutely dogged him, and not a scratch on his face after either. Like
No,
not a
no.
scratch on Patty's face after that fight.
Um, I gotta mention also real quick is last fight that he had. I think is was his name King something like that.
Kane something,
I don't
yeah,
remember. Yeah. Um, Watching that fight, I didn't think that Patty could get much better, and to see how he fought against Chandler, he was
right,
levels above where he was, and
yeah,
it's refreshing to see it as a fan of his. You know, from the walkout to to walking out, you know, he's just absolutely
right,
electric, and it was amazing to see.
yeah, for sure. And now we're gonna go ahead and go over the fight of the night. I'm sure we both picked the same for this as well, so I'll let you
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Just you know, it had everything. It had everything that you wanted. I'm honestly glad that we didn't get the knockout that I think some people were kind of expecting. Volk looked like vintage Volk, and I think that not only helps him out for defending the title, but it also shines light on Diego Lopez to show how good of a fighter he really is and the future of that division. Everyone was saying how good of a chin Diego Lopez has after that fight. He was eating some crazy shots.
Hmm.
I think the significant strike percent, like differential, was like 153 from Volk and then like 60 for Diego or something crazy like that. And he's still in that fight till the very end. So yeah, it was just one of the best fights I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think it was a perfect outcome for the fight for us because we both love
Yeah,
Volk and Lopez both. So we didn't really want to see either of them get like knocked out. So it was nice seeing it go the distance and it being a really competitive fight. But I am ultimately
absolutely.
happy that Volk was able to pull it off and really assert his greatness in that weight class. First person over the age of 35, I think I saw in that weight class to get a belt back. And
Hmm.
he looked vintage, like you said, really clean, really sharp. His combos were really well. Gave me a little bit of heart attack there when Lopez had that knocked out on
Yeah.
him. But other than that, was a really good fight. And like you were saying, Diego Lopez, this is a moral victory if I've ever seen one. I mean, this guy
Oh yeah.
looked really good, really sharp. It's just he was fighting one of the greats, and I think there's going to be a rematch eventually, and I'm sure that it's going to be a pass under the torch fight, and Lopez will probably
Yep.
go ahead and get that win. But man, what a fight! Just to cap off an amazing
Yeah.
card. So very entertaining. We were both on the edge of our seats by the end of round
Oh
five,
yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
a crazy fight.
Yep.
All right, and now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the PGA Masters. I just really quick wanted to get your opinion on the thoughts of Rory McIlroy winning the Masters for the first time.
Yeah, I mean it's great whenever you get to watch somebody, get the career Grand Slam. I think it's only 6 guys in the history of professional golf to be able to do that. It's great to see, that being accomplished, especially with a good guy like Rory. I know some people had like speculations about him being able to win it, especially after that collapse of a final round. Um, but he was able to pull it off. Missed the putt right before on that 18th hole, but he was able to win the playoff when he needed to. So, yeah, I think it was a great win for him.
Yeah, I was really happy to see this. I'm a big Rory guy. I went to go to TPC the other few weeks ago, and me and my brother went, and we were able to see Rory put on a show. We didn't get to see him actually win because the playoff got pushed to the next day, and we weren't able to go to that. But we did get to see Rory make a strong push to have that playoff be played that next day. So just a big Rory fan, and to see him finally win after coming close so many times, and like you said, the Grand Slam. It's just amazing to see. I loved seeing him get so emotional because you can tell he really wanted this and he really
Hmm.
deserved it. So happy to see it happen. And I think that the PGA Masters was amazing this year. I think it was one of the best
Yeah.
sporting events that have happened so far in sports. So um,
Yep.
really fun event to watch.
Absolutely.
All right. Now we're going to slide into segment 3, which is going to be a new segment because we've been spamming the trivia a little bit. So I want to pump the brakes on that a little bit before we run out of ideas. And we're going to go into this new segment. I got it from this podcast, the Escape Pod podcast. They do this with movie discussions. So I have to give credit to them for this. It is a agree or disagree. So basically, I will read a statement and we will both say if we agree with the statement or disagree with the statement and why or why not we agree or disagree. So we'll go ahead and get this started with agree or disagree. My first statement: the Miami Heat will make it through the play-in and into the playoffs.
Um, I'm gonna go with disagree just because of the uncertainty of the round two. I think they'll be able to get the round one, but the round two, I don't know if the fatigue of just those same guys being able to get it done. But at anything can happen, so it's not going to be a strongly disagree or anything. So yeah, just a slight little disagree.
I'm gonna go with agree, just based off of the sole fact that majority of the fans want them to lose the play-in and get a high draft pick, and the Heat are just known to never tank for a draft pick.
Yeah,
So it is solely off the fact I think the Heat are going to win just because all the fans want them to lose, so to
right.
speak. And also, it does go. It does have to be said in the last 3 seasons, the Heat have made the play-in, and they've made it out of the play-in every single time. And one of those times, they made it all the way to the NBA Finals. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
agree on that statement. As much as I would like to say disagree. All right, second statement. The Dodgers will not win the NL West this year.
I'm gonna go with agree. I think that the Giants are gonna be able to pull it off. Oh wait, the Padres are in that one, right?
They are at one now. Yeah, they're tied for the first though, kind of.
Okay, okay. So whoever is in the lead, I think is gonna remain there. The Padres have been absolutely phenomenal. We saw, what they could do throughout the season. So I think they'll be able to stick to it. So yeah, I don't think the Dodgers will win the NL West.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I think the Dodgers are still the clear favorite to win the NL West. They've had some bad losses. Obviously, they lost to the Nationals, they lost to the Cubs, but let's not get twisted. They're still one of the best teams. They are the best team
Yeah.
on paper. 162 game season, so a lot of time for them to figure it out. Um, I'm not I'm not expecting them to be anywhere other than first place in the NL West, so I'm going to disagree with that statement. All right. Next statement. We're kind of going over every sport we've talked about today, except the last one.
Yeah.
Um, Patty Pimblett will be a champion within the next year. Now, keep in mind, the current champ of that weight class is Islam Makhachev, who looks phenomenal right now.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree. I love Patty,
Yeah.
but Islam, from what I've seen, man, but I don't know because we were talking about it the other night where Patty is better than Dustin is right now, and Dustin, had Islam on the ropes. I think I'm just gonna have to stay neutral for this one. I don't know if I can give an answer. Uh,
Mm,
I
that's
I
fair.
honestly don't know. I mean, it could go either way. I don't know if Islam can get better than he is, but I think that Petty can get better. Obviously, from what we've seen, if he continues to get better, he will win. But it's all just what if, I don't know if he can. So yeah, gonna stay neutral for
I'm
that one.
gonna I'm gonna go with agree here. I think he will get it done. Um,
That's fair.
like we were saying with the whole Dustin Poirier thing, I agree with that. And also, Patty Pimblett's an amazing wrestler, as we've seen. He's a great
Oh yeah,
grappler. He's a submission artist. Does really well with that. And I think he's going to be able to defend a lot of Islam's wrestling. And I think when it comes to
mm,
striking, if they're both on their feet, I think Patty's the bigger threat. Personally, I think that he's uh,
really?
more capable of landed shots. I don't know 100%, but I'm going to assume that Patty has a reach advantage and a height advantage, which would come big in that factor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think it'll be a really crazy fight to see if it does happen
Oh
within the
yeah.
next year. But I am gonna agree with it just because I'm so high on this Patty wave right now after this last fight.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right. Now for the final statement. This is more for you, so I'll let you kind of take this one over. If Shador Sanders is still available for the Giants at pick number 3, they should take him.
Absolute strongly disagree. I think from what I've seen that he will be there. Ward's gonna go one, and I think, oh man, I don't know who the Browns are gonna draft. There's such a wild card in this draft.
Hmm.
They're kind of all over the place. So I'm not too sure what the Browns are going to do, but if we do end up having Shador available at 3, I hope that will pass him up. I think we could go potentially Travis or Abdul Carter from what I've been seeing. Abdul Carter has been a heavy favorite for the Giants right now, which has honestly been uh, surprising, I think, because we do have a pretty solid D line, But adding him, I think, kind of brings us back to the roots of what the New York Giants football team is known for, and that is having a insane defense. So if we're able to kind of get back to those glory days, maybe get some offense weapons to help us out, and play decent, meaningful football. So we'll see. I think we're a long ways from that, but yeah, I'm just gonna disagree with the statement.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree as well. I think the Giants should stay as far away from Shador Sanders as possible. I get that, they're meeting him and, looking into him and all of that. I just don't understand why you would draft him after signing a guy like Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on top of that. Why you would go ahead and draft him when there's really good pieces, like you said, in Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, who can really change that defense in their positions.
Yep.
I think that it would be very silly. I think they hold off for another year with the whole quarterback thing. Let Russell Wilson play out this season. See how it
Such a
goes.
weak
Draft an
quarterback
amazing
class.
defensive prospect in Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter and see where it goes from there. I think that's their best play. So I disagree as well. I do not think that they should draft Shador Sanders, even if he's available at 3.
Right. And I think if we do end up getting either one of those guys in Travis or Abdul, we'll have enough draft capital. Say if we have a mid or mediocre season, then we could trade up in a much more
Right.
stacked quarterback class next year to where there's going to be more options when there was really only two options this year. So it kind of
Right.
puts any team with a quarterback need at a standstill. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to pretty much wrap up this episode of GM Sports Report. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on All Things Sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok accounts. This is Grant Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.